video of Joseph and our time there. And so we thought we'd take this time to just kind of wrap up the last 3 places that we stayed. So let's start with Soap Lake. We stayed at the Smokium RV Park, and it was right on Soap Lake. It was very clean and had a combination of cabins, RV spaces, a lot of really nice tent spaces.
Yeah, a large part of the park down in the front had 3 rows of just nothing but big family tents.
Yeah, so you could have your own bark. It was bark chipped and clean for your specific tent. And then they had teepees to rent. The thing you have to know about Soap Lake is it has a little bit of an odor, kind of like rotten eggs, because it is one of the large mineral medicinal type lakes, and you're supposed to rub the mud all over you. So we were glad that we went and visited there, but we probably won't make a return visit. It wasn't something that would draw us back. And then from there, we went to the Leavenworth KOA, and you saw that video on the last Quilt Roadies video, which G did, and that was a destination KOA.
Yeah, very busy and very popular, and we were really glad that they had a shuttle bus to take us into town. And
that was awesome.
Yeah,
because we weren't towing a vehicle, so it had a pool, hot tub was going in, a coffee shack was right across from us. They had a pretty good service store with gift items even. There was a playground. And then the shuttle, which went 3 round trips a day, was it?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we could just hop on that shuttle and be dropped off in the middle of Leavenworth. And it was, and each campsite had their own barbecue pit.
That's right.
And a fire pit. So that was pretty sweet. After we left Leavenworth, we went to Joseph, and we went to the Wallowa Lake Park on the river, RV park, which was outside of town.
Mm-hmm.
And we liked that park. That was a pretty sweet park.
Yes, it was very nice and very clean.
Clean. The interesting thing about that location was it was outside of Joseph on the north end of the lake, but there was a transit bus that picked up right across the street from it, and we could ride into you could ride to Joseph all the way to Enterprise for $3 a day.
It was actually on the south end of the lake, but
south end of the lake.
the bus did stop at the north end of the lake too. So.
Oh yeah, at the state park, huh?
The state park's at the south end too.
Oh, at the south. That's why I married a cartographer.
But south end of Wallowa Lake, you had the state campgrounds and 2 or 3 private campgrounds, and you had chalets and hotel rooms.
Yeah, so it was sweet to have that transit system, and then we could there were like 2 mini golf things around us, and we could just walk across the street and take a tramway up to the top of Mount Howard, which was spectacular.
Yeah, which you just saw in this video, and on one side of the mountain you could see all the way into Idaho, and see the 7 Devils.
7 Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, if you have a fear of heights, you might want to have a beer before you go or take a Valium, because it is a pretty steep ride and it goes on for 15 to 20 minutes to get to the top. But what a view you get. And the really cool thing was I found out when I got home that the front page of the Sunset magazine, this month's issue, Secret Lake Escape, was all about the tiny town of Joseph. So if you want to do some reading on that, it's now featured this month in Sunset magazine. Unbeknownst to me, in my organizational skills, I shorted us one night at the RV park, so they kicked us out, and we didn't have any place to go. And so we spontaneously checked out the state park, which is right on the lake.
Yeah, it was about a mile down the road from where we were. and it was first come, first served, and they had a few spaces left open, so we were able to get in.
And it was so quiet and a really nice state park. So that's another option for staying in Joseph if you wanted to stay more out in the woods and not in town. There is a small RV park in town, but I imagine that you'd have to make a reservation for that one because they didn't have a lot of spaces. And it wasn't real fancy, but the advantage to that one is you're in the middle of Joseph. So that was the end of that adventure. We hope you'll stay tuned for our next adventure.